must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Good afternoon, viewers. I want to take a few minutes in the Africa School of Thought. I want to say a few points regarding the situation of the Chief Justice in the Republic of Kenya. The Chief Justice is part of the governance of the people of Kenya. He is one arm of the governance of the Republic of Kenya. The Chief Justice has never convened or tried to convene a meeting between the President, the Speaker of National Assembly, and himself to find out the weakest link in the fight in the governance of the people of Kenya. It is therefore very shameful for the whole Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya to use a platform, external platform, to announce a regime change proceeds using the platforms of international civil society to dismember the government of the Republic of Kenya. As a Pan-African, I feel sorry and saddened by the events that are taking place in the judiciary of the Republic of Kenya. The President or the executive has done its best. It has given the funding that is needed to fight corruption. Every time the agencies that fight corruption arrange, indict, and deliver a suspect in the courts of the Republic of Kenya, the same judiciary that the Chief Justice represents, the same judiciary that the Chief Justice says it is very perfect, releases these people at times on flimsy reasons, blocks the route of justice, obstructs justice. The case of the former Deputy Chief Justice, Lady Mwiru, who was found who should have taken a plea, but because of the problems that the judiciary has and the weaknesses, the incompetences that the judiciary has, the Lady Justice Mwiru was allowed to petition the DCI and DPP's application and a charge. She never took a charge, a plea in the normal courts. Of course, the events are much bigger than what we see today. It is sorry state that the Chief Justice is the one who can mention about the failure, yet the word failure is actually associated with the judiciary of the Republic of Kenya. Everybody in the judiciary knows, every Kenyan, young or old, knows that there is a problem with the Chief Justice. I take one example. For the Chief Justice to talk about the nullified elections, that dynasties collected themselves in kingdoms, in business entrepreneurs win an election, shows to you that he has something that is against the current administration of President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. I therefore call upon the international community not to listen to the side that actually weakened the fight against corruption in Kenya, but help the Kenyan people to fight corruption. Because the weakest link, which all of us know, is the judiciary in Kenya. If the Chief Justice was pleasing the civil society funders, the NGOs that gathered in Oxford, let them hear this message, that it is him and him alone. It is his incompetency, the lack of direction, the lack of leadership, the poor leadership qualities, the lack of pointing out the mistakes in law. The law itself that the Chief Justice talks about is the one to recommend which type of law. He can also suggest to the other two arms of government that the laws in Kenya surrounding cases of corruption are weak. But as usual, he has been a weakest link, remains a weakest link. Who is plotting, who is planning, who is trying to execute a foreign instigated plan against the Jubilee government. Thank you very much, viewers. That is a statement as far as the situation of Kenya is concerned. The Chief Justice, therefore, is plotting a coup, a constitutional coup, because he is trying to blackmail the leadership of the Republic of Kenya. Thank you very much, viewers. God bless you. Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers, wherever you are in Africa. Thank you very much for watching us and paying attention to most of our programs throughout the last week, and especially Africa Showdown yesterday. Thank you very much. Good morning again in Cape Town, in Cairo. Football, I don't want to discuss it. I think I've closed the chapter, and I want to make a special announcement before I bring in Miriam, my co-host. Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to make a special announcement to everybody, all people watching my shows, that with effect from today, I will not discuss football until the AFCON is over. I have discovered the anomaly, and I have taken my viewership off any of the teams that, including my own country, Uganda, that I will not take part in viewership, encouragement, support, because One, Total Oil, a French company that has killed human rights records in Nigeria, in Cameroon, in several other African countries, is the one that has sponsored the football club AFCON. It therefore begs a question, as any normal person, an activist of international repute of my status, would bear responsibility knowing the deaths of the people who are dying in Africa, in Amazonia, in Nigeria, in Ivory Coast, in the Sahara region, in Boko Haram, and in Libya, more so in Libya, where Total Oil had taken 3/4 of the oil exploration and drilling of oil and taking out of oil, siphoning it to France. I have no moral obligations if I continued, or I will have no moral obligations if I continued supporting AFCON, which is part and parcel supported by none other than Total Oil Africa. I therefore remove my viewership, my commentary, my anything. Although I love football, I think I will not look at the screen when these football matches are being played. I will engage myself in other international news and other films that excite my brain, my mind, my conscience. That is the stance in standing in solidarity with the people of Biafra, Nigeria, the Boko Haram, and the people of Amazonia who are being killed, maimed, as Total Oil and the French authorities watch the killings, and in solidarity with the people of Libya as a Pan-African station, and I'm a Pan-African myself. I will not discuss, and I've decided to take a stand not to engage myself in football matters of AFCON until it is over. It's when I can talk about any African football. It is a shame that over 66 years, no company in Africa can sponsor AFCON. Are we independent? Are we independent? It brings us to the question that Miriam will introduce later. Is Africa independent? Or is Africa controlled, manned, supplied, equipped, and remote controlled from abroad? Are we ourselves? I had promised you that I would bring a dossier of AU, but we have given it up to Wednesday this week, when all the audio tapes, some of them were corrupted by a virus, of course, by international security agencies that wanted to interrupt. But we shall get the real tapes all together, then we shall come back. So viewers, good morning, Africa. That is what the special message I've taken. Good morning, Miriam.
Good morning to you, Doctor.
I think two of us come on the same level, although in extreme length, extreme directions. For you, you are not very much, you are against football.
I'm not against football, don't say that.
No, you are against people not supporting women in football.
They need our moral support.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I told you I will not support the World Cup football once it is being played in Paris.
Yes.
Now, you have now got another person, me following you. Instead of following, I don't know how many goals Harambee Stars got.
2-0. Algeria beat them 2-0. Same as Tanzania also lost yesterday, 2-0 to another team. Yes.
So that is a quagmire.
They lost to Senegal.
We leave it to God. I don't want to make comments. The other time I made comments because Uganda got 2 goals to 0. I wish them luck, but I am not going to view any match as from yesterday. Because I had not seen the opening match, the opening session. I didn't see all these matches. I come in the middle. But yesterday when I saw the opening match between Kenya, the opening ceremony between Kenya and Algeria, I saw Total Oil flag in the middle, uniting. While human rights, Africans, let's have civil disobedience of our own. While human rights in Nigeria and Cameroon and elsewhere in Libya is Total Oil that caused us a war, that if we saw Libya go down, we are busy clapping our hands in Egypt for Total Oil. Some Africans should walk in and dismantle that flag. That is the type of generation we are looking for. We can't be sponsored for football, for food, for everything. The same people are killing us. The same people are killing people in Biafra, in Cameroon, in Central African Republic. Then you tell me Total Oil is sponsoring the football that we all like. Why do they like us when we are playing football, but they hate us when we are not playing football? That is my position. That is it. I've taken it. Thank you very much. No more viewing football of AFCON. Neither will I make a comment. This is the last comment on that football. Miriam, take it over from here. Announce the topics.
Yes, indeed. A very good morning to you, or good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are watching us from. This day, I see Alfu is back. I don't know if he's saying he's in Nairobi. I'm not sure. But what we have in store for you today, the legacy and priority. And number 2, free fall politics in Jubilee. These are the questions we're going to look at, and the topics we're going to look at that touch on Kenya, and also no vigilante justice on Tuju. And later on, I'll come with the African news headlines and give you the latest in what is happening in this continent today. And later on, we'll just go straight to the DIASPORA Dispatches, where we'll be seeking to answer the question, is Africa independent, or is it being controlled by a foreign agency? That is one conversation you do not want to miss. So right now, I think we just start with what is making headlines in Kenya. And it was a very busy weekend, Doctor, for the politicians and different corners in this country over the weekend.
Yes, it was, Miriam. And as I said, it was such a sad thing, very sad indeed, that what happened yesterday is just another nightmare that I have been telling people here in this country. What is happening today is even worse. I have predicted that these things are going to happen. I told you a few weeks ago, I said the type of conflict, the type of Machiavellian politics that is being calculated. You plant the story at night in the newspaper headline. You come and tell the president, I'm your friend. Then at night you say, he's not my friend. I just want you to do this and that and that. It has now landed 5 ministers at the DCI. As we speak now, they have just made a press conference at the DCI. Someone called the DCI to say, some 5 ministers want to kill me. There was a letter that circulated here, I think you saw, which became a rubbish letter, which there is a manufacturing department that is manufacturing these letters with letterheads. There is a manufacturing department in this country that takes your Matanga voice, puts it on the phone, and they say Matanga was talking to Miriam. It is there. It is high time the DCI launched a very serious investigation into people who claim to be digital men who know about, I don't know much about digital platform. I cannot even change any diagram to look left and right. But there are people here who claim to be hackers, who have earned their livelihood by claiming they are hackers. They go around telling people they hack. They go around telling people we know They claim to be knowing IT more than the people who invented IT. I don't know. And I want to be very candid. There's that group in some department, in somebody's office, in this country, headed by people that we taxpayers, Kenyan taxpayers, are paying, by the people who are supposed to be spokesmen in those offices, who are doing this every day. They have linked up anybody who has a different view from them, and they go gathering information. What does Matanga do? Where does it go? Where does he eat? How does he smell? How does he laugh? How does he do this? This is happening now. And the more they go on, if the president does not stamp authority, these groups are going to destroy this country. These are mature younger men, not mature people, immature younger men. Most of them school dropouts. Most of them claim to be journalists, yet they have never read even a single iota of journalism. They claim to be knowing digital platforms, yet they have never done even one diagram which can cure malaria. They are busy linking up groups with people to see what Kibicho is doing, what so and so is doing, who is talking to who. A telephone conversation in this country cannot be tapped by other than people who have authority to tap. Who are those people? Who are those people? Let's ask questions. The only people who can tap the telephone is the intelligence system of this country. Does it mean that Ruto has got people who tap people's phones? Let this come out now. Does it mean that there is a division in the cabinet where cabinet ministers plot to kill the DP? Let's go into this now. Because this type of life brought chaos to this country, Kenya. It brought chaos in 2007. Maliciously, people got killed. We are not going to speculate and sit on speculations anymore. Because this group does exist. It manufactures a sound bite. If people can mimic Moi, if people can mimic Raila Odinga, what is difficult for people mimicking any ordinary person? Let's be very honest about these groups. I am not defending if that tape is real, the sound proof, and those who read the sound can tell us. But I am now stating the facts about this group. Let me tell you frankly, viewers, you employ people and then they send people to be in your place to spy on you every day. What does he do? Where is he going? Where does he get the money? What does he do? Yet you have created employment for people. This type of life is not the life that people need. Time has come for people to be honest. And that is now the truth. That's why I'm talking today. It has come out. Now you see, how will these cabinet ministers go and sit with the cabinet?
Is it what was making headlines there as you
Yes, it was the breaking news.
So the 4 CSS went to the DCI to be interrogated.
Exactly. They are from Mount Kenya. They wanted to know. And not only 5, and the principal secretaries from Mount Kenya, because they were named. They went to the DCI to know when did they sit down to plot to kill the deputy president.
Those are very serious allegations.
Yes, and they found that the deputy president himself picked a phone and called the CID. So let him record the statement. You see where we have now gone? We have reached a problem. I don't know, Mr. President, where are you? We have reached a very dangerous proportion now. This is leading this country into very serious acrimony that people would regret. I saw this happen in 2007 and I warned the people. All these people who are shouting and yapping on social media will not be there for you. Some of us there have been there for this gentleman. The earlier they sit down and sort this mess out and make it very clear that this is the way the government has to go. On Friday, we had, it has remained a politics of free fall. On Friday, these guys were in Rivertex. They agreed that there is no more chaos. There's only focus on development. As soon as they left Rivertex, the deputy president led a contingent of several people in Trans Nzoia, hammering the same president, the same party. Okay? Demanding Raila to explain how much money he got. If Raila got money, please, let you ask Raila to give you. But does it concern Kenyans? Any ordinary Kenyan paying for school fees for his children, is Raila paying school fees? If we editors who are older than the DP cannot talk about this issue, how many people are going to talk about this issue? This thing is bringing a country to disrepute. This thing is breaking this country. On Saturday, they vowed, they said, now imagine, you know it is now worse to appear at a rally, a fundraising of your fellow Jubilee mine than Raila's rally. Did you know how bad the division is? It is dangerous to go in a rally like that one in Trans Nzoia if you are in a town in Kitale and you happen to have a different view from the deputy president, and you say, let me go to the rally. You could be reached. This is exactly how Raila and ODM were operating. It was very difficult to go to ODM rally, even to smell you near. Now the smell has shifted from opposition versus ruling party versus its own ruling party. You saw how they booed this woman, Chege. How they booed another one, Kwamuchomba. This type of politics is very bad. In Naivasha, you saw Kiara. Kiara has forgotten what she went through in 2007. She has forgotten kabisa. The statements she was making. Look at Ngunjiri. Ngunjiri, the man of Bahati. The statements he is making. Those statements don't help Kenya. Those statements divide Kenya more and more and more. Look at another rally. Kuria and the other group. Another group has emerged called Wanjiku Takataka group. Look at the statements they were making. So are we creating militias that are going to zero on each other? At the end of the day, then you said there was no militia. Mark, you people, the ICC and other agencies are watching. Should there be trouble, again, it is us who stood by you who will suffer more. It is us who hate ICC who will suffer more. I will suffer more. So these agencies of creating, someone has sat somewhere, and this is the truth. Say, find out what Matanga does. Where does he go? And the busy feeling, it's all right. Matanga is open man. If you want to charge me with any charges, if you want me to go out of the place, I will go. I don't like a home. I don't care. I don't like a home. I will go. And in the morning, you'll hear I've called you that I'm in my house, not on a tree. Yes. Because I have had enough. I am one of those. Maybe today, tomorrow you'll hear somebody mimicking my name and using my voice. You know? So the truth is, it must be told. They hire people, they put people, say do this. They go to the extent of demonizing your Facebook account. You want to write your Facebook account. It is not available. Every time money is lost in this country, in infamous, the same group comes out to say we have facts. Facts. We have facts. The DCI should find this group. There's a group. Now we are happy that Allah is in prison because he deserves to be there. When you write and the same, Matsanga has done this. When Matsanga is not even on Twitter, I was not in Twitter, I was not on Facebook. So when you write and say I've impregnated some people, did I impregnate them through Facebook? And that lie goes to destroy the families of people. So at last he landed somewhere. There is another one left. Another one. There are 3 of them. These are extreme ends of type of digital men. There's one who always comes up whenever money is missing in NYS. He says it is wrong figures. So the PIN code, the PIN number, what is it called? The one for infamous. Is it the PIN number?
You mean the carry PIN? Or which
no, the one of infamous. You remember the one man told us the infamous now.
The counties.
Somebody stole their password. The password. So, when do these passwords begin being stolen? When the whole year we have the passwords with us. Do they only reach that point of stealing that the passwords? This is like a story of a python swallowing $20,000 in $20,000 in Nigeria. Then it came out to find that the python, it is not the $25, 25,000. Some thieves came and stole it. The thieves stole it. So these are some of the things that have been politics free fall for everything. And these are the headlines. If you can see here, Uhuru Allah is back Tuju on route of threat. Why are we being threatened? Why, if on dams we said we must do investigations, why are we threatening Tuju to depart today? That is my question. Why do we take out Tuju when we said those who were involved in the dams must be investigated? Why do we take vigilante justice system? Why on certain people and then others of the dam there is further investigation? The question of Tuju's tapes or whatever discussion, let it be investigated by the DCI to find out the following. And these are the following, which people should take note. The following things should be found out so that we go to the deep depth of all these problems that have been lingering around this country. The people, we find out the truth in this format. Who is this who tapped the phones? Who tapped the phones? Because there is a discussion of 2 people. Both of them are in different directions. Who tapped their phones? Because tapping the phone through Safaricom is illegal. At what point, what time was Safaricom line interfered with? Who is this group of hackers who claim to be stationed in some place, who manufacture government letterheads, they manufacture government sounds, they have sound bites of every government official, They pay out to bring musicians and celebrities. I'm telling you, celebrities into those places. And these celebrities who do the shows are the ones doing this. These are serious allegations that allegedly the DCI must investigate. Who is this? Who picks the passwords? Who picks the passwords of FMIs? Always steals our money. Who is this who hacks people's accounts to the extent that the president's account was interfered with, closed? There is one person or two or three or four who know what the president's account should be. Who is this infiltrating the systems, creating confusion within the government and other institutions? That's not, they have planted, it is not only these ministers, all of us. If you speak against somebody here, you are planted. Last night I received a call, and it is here from somebody who warned me to stop ABCD. I've reported it to the police. Somebody who claims to be a son of so and so. Okay? Saying, oh, stop talking about the ABCD. So even if you are in London, you will be gouged from talking. And I've recorded it. Thanks very much, my phone. Everything that you want to say, if I want to put you, I will put you. I will find all the details, and it will be played back. So there are people who are fixed on me. They want to find out what I do, how I eat, what is my life, where do I go. Stupid. Thank you very much, Miriam. Take over.
All right, so the headlines in the Standard newspaper this morning, if you can see that on your screens. Uhuru allies back to John Ruto threat, and there it says, leaders allied to President to defend Party Secretary General Raphael Tuju asking his critics, majority who are allied to the DP, William Ruto, to wait for Jubilee elections to elect those they want. Remember, some section of the Jubilee leadership have been asking for party elections, and the president, I see on the Star here, they say Uhuru ignores calls by Ruto allies to convene, a PG meeting on elections, something like that. So that is something that is continuing there. And with that, a former Jubilee vice chairperson is quoted to have said that they should leave him alone. I don't think he said anything wrong. They should be happy to. You reminded them that it is time to heal the country. So if you want to get the details of that, please go to the Standard. Even online, you can get those details. But also something, Doctor, very interesting that has really captured my attention on the Standard. Here, the headlines. The member, an MP, Kiambu Women Representative Gathoni Wamushomba once elected leaders and state officials blocked from traveling abroad for treatment so that they can do more to improve local health facilities. Now, this I want to talk about.
Yeah, but you have to talk about everything. Mm-hmm. Miriam, there is no way you can avoid politics. It's also politics. Yes. If you touch this, yes. Who goes to the hospital?
That's
it
what
is
I'm
them.
saying. Because now if they're blocked,
yes.
They might improve our health systems here, Doctor.
They will, that one is a better motion.
Yes.
If they bring such a motion, every Kenyan will be very happy. Why do you run away and go and save yourself and leave us to die when you have been in a position to make us better? Yes. That motion is good. It's fantastic.
Do you think they'll vote it even?
They will not. No MP will try to, Miriam. Nobody will try to go there because everybody will fear. You know? There are certain especially some diseases. There are certain diseases you cannot cure from here.
From here, you have to travel.
That one you can go.
These people go
But-
even for flu.
Yes.
Even for remember the
Scratches.
allegations. The Nairobi speaker. I don't know. She went there for what? Some plastic side. I don't know. Those were the
Madam, what is her name?
Elachi. That caused a lot of problems with the assembly. But maybe there should be like certain illnesses you can go which cannot be cured here, but they should be encouraged to be cured here, so that when they experience the bad state of our health facilities, they may actually do something about it, so that all of us can benefit, them and us as Kenyans.
Yes. That is a very good motion.
Yes.
Madam, what is her name?
Yes.
Madam
Kiambu Women Representative Gadhoni wa Mushomba.
wa Muchomba. I've liked this woman. You know why? She has always been very, very straightforward. Honestly, she has been very straightforward. There was a time about a row about women, men and women marrying several men marrying several. She said, what is wrong with that? I like her boldness. If someone cannot eat posho today, ugali, he can eat rice tomorrow.
Yeah, if they agree to it, I think
Yes,
it's a problem.
not even whether you agree, there is no human being. Tell me these people who say, holy, we are holy. Do they eat one food from morning up to the end of the year? No. It is only that you are, Miriam, let's be honest, it's only that you are restricted in your heart.
No, I'm not restricted.
I'm not saying.
I'm satisfied.
There is, you can be satisfied,
Yes.
but you
I'm
still,
content.
one can be satisfied,
Yes.
but still remain committing adultery.
That happens when you're not content. When you're
No.
content,
That can be a discussion for social media,
Finally.
social Africa.
Yes.
But the truth is, there is no satisfaction. You can't be satisfied. You can be only contented.
When you're content, you have some level of self-control.
Yes.
Yes.
Satisfaction and content are two different things. I agree with you now, but not to be satisfied. People are satisfied, but you can't stop the eyes from getting satisfied, because eyes see until they are closed. If there is a way that these so-called IT men who hack our systems can find out something on the last image, some scientists in Britain were trying, they discovered that if they went back to
I saw that, yes.
Yes, if they went back to the last site, the last thing a dead body saw, they would discover the criminal. You saw that? That could be very good. These men here who claim to be knowing more about the computers in Nairobi, working that we know, bring it here, then they take your computer and you know what? Why don't they discover that what is on the retina? What was the last thing that this dead body saw? We could be very... you know how many people would be in jail?
It will help solve a lot of these homicide cases.
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
So I would be very happy. So eyes see, William, in short, the eyes see everywhere up to the end.
Yes, they do.
In fact, you never know, these eyes see where God is. But they don't see the God. You can't see God, but we try. And then people who are defeated, then put on what they call telescope.
Yes.
Is it?
Binoculars, yes.
Binoculars is smaller. Telescope is the one that ranges for the smaller star. Then even from the telescope, after you have reached that star, umeweka rocket launcher. Rocket. Unataka kwenda. People have gone up there.
Now you sounded like Kim Jong-un. You know, he's obsessed with anything that
sees.
that goes.
I am also obsessed with everything. You know, he's a younger man. He can be obsessed with anything. You know, such you touch Kim what sang?
Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-un. You touch such. You see leaders who say I want.
Yes. It's a problem.
Thank you. Let's move on.
Yes.
We have made very good progress so far.
So the legacy and priority, Doctor, how far so far? I mean, the president and his wish and what he wants to do for Kenyans. How would you rate his performance so far? How many months are remaining for his presidency?
Who?
President Uhuru Kenyatta.
What?
How many months are remaining now? Is it 36 or 37?
These are now 36 months and some days. Some months. 36 months and the days.
He's on course to deliver for his, especially the big four.
No, yes, the big four could be delivered. But I think time has come in the legacy. This is the question to our what is on our program.
Yes, the legacy and priority.
And the priority. I think we better take priority. We better pick out the things that are going to leave the president and the president to be known that he delivered X or Y. I think for me, frankly speaking, I would advise the president today, if I were his advisor, I would advise the president that you pick on corruption. Sentence many people. Let 22 find you when you have locked up all the thieves. Most of the thieves nailed not by vigilante justice, but through the court system. 5 years, 10 years, 11 years, because there is no life sentencing here like China, or there is no shooting like China. That is priority number one for the president. Priority number two, for the president to leave a legacy, he needs to scrap these ministers, all of them. I'm sorry.
Yes, and
including anybody who is opposing the president right now. Including anybody. He has to stamp authority, put authority down, scrap these guys out of his sight, and remain with loyal governors, loyal people, those who can deliver. You see now the DCI yesterday, you saw a report that they are ready now to proceed with
the dam scandal. Aspects, yes.
I told you that money is eaten. Miriam, you looked at me and laughed.
No, I didn't.
I told you that money will never come.
It was gone and gone. But also, Doctor, just to sorry I cut you short. Now that we're seeing this other diversionary, do you think this is diversionary tactic?
Exactly. It's a diversionary tactic.
The DCI came out over the weekend and said he's ready. The files are ready. And a few CSS have been mentioned, and he's ready to...
Because they are going... When they charge this minister, when they charge this MD, managing director, the KO Valley, when they charge them, the truth is coming out. You have to go for Tuju. You Kenyans.
And then we wake up in the morning. All CSS and the DCI recordings.
You have to die. Please, Mr. President, this is too much. When you see every time that DCI is going for people, someone brings a tactic. Machiavellian. Now, the whole of this week, we shall be on that story. 5 CSS record statement at DCI.
Over 2022 politics.
Over 22 politics. That's the headline. The mafia agencies are hammering now. I don't want to criticize my fellow stations, but mafia stations, they are here. The people own the television stations. What will you do? If they don't want you to analyze. I was analyzing things on K24. The new owner, told the managing director to take me out. In fact, if I delayed there, they would have killed me. As if I was doing anything that was wrong, surely. Now trouble is coming, brewing. This is a diversionary tactic. Miriam, you are right. Now the DCI will be occupied with this thing the whole week.
And also, there's the CSS that are being mentioned in regards to 2022 politics. Number one, the reason why we wanted the constitution, or the makers of this constitution thought that that the CSS should not be involved in politics. So that the fact that the names are coming up in regards to 2022 politics, and the CSS in this country, they're not even supposed to be politicians. Unfortunately, a few politicians were thrown in there. But a lot of them, a few of them have managed to stay away from the day-to-day politics of this country. But we see some have become political tools being used by a section of the politicians. Even in those cabinet, there are reports it's divided.
So what the question you asked, what can the president do in the 36 months and some few days left?
With the CSS being called.
Yes, with the CSS caught up in a plot to allegedly to kill their deputy. Now, how will this deputy and the CS sit in the cabinet? How? And this has reached the highest, the maximum. You see, Machiavellian tricks can only work. Machiavelli was more concerned with churches. I'd forgotten telling you. It's good. It has, you know, you are a very good church goer. Machiavelli liked churches. Machiavelli was ever with church. Machiavelli can dress in church, attire, everywhere. Machiavelli.
Do you mean me or somebody else?
I don't know. I am now telling you, interpreting the Prince, the book, the Prince.
I'll take the punch, yes.
Yes. Machiavelli could dance. Machiavelli could do everything. Everything. I'm telling you. When you talk about the Roman Empire, the Pope in the Rome, Machiavelli could arrest you. If you belittle the name of the emperor, Machiavelli could not arrest you. But if you belittle the name of the Pope in Rome, where Machiavelli was sent to collect arms and the silver and the coins, he will arrest you in the kingdom of Sicily. Because the people of Sicily thought the Pope had collected a lot of money and wealth and gone to Vatican, where the current Vatican is, created an empire, ran away from them, left them in poverty. So the Sicily emperor of Florence was always very against. But then time came when barbarians were coming. Barbarians were going to invade the Ottoman Empire, coming from the north to invade Sicily, to take over the Turks. We are very powerful guys. That's why you see Turkey still stands with this poor cotton cloth we get from there. Very cheap cloth shirts from Turkey. I don't know, people who wear clothes from Turkey are worth, no, not on my body. And yes, I'm honest. The one I'm wearing is not from Turkey. Turkey cloth, when you wear, they stick on your body with the African sunshine. The one in Egypt. I wear Scotland Pringle. The only cotton that's brought from Africa, well done and brought back. But if Nightil was there in Kampala, now you have invaded Rivertex. I will be buying my shirts. My first order to Rivertex is for my small group. I'm going to Eldoret one of these days to make sure that I book our first shirts and the uniforms.
They don't have online transactions, yes.
No, when they get to line transaction. But any material of any African decorator who can decorate us on Friday, we need it. Miriam needs a nice, what is it called? That whole thing from up to down on Friday. Like the one Madame Passaris
I can't bowl with that.
was wearing.
I bowl on Fridays. I can't bowl with that long.
No, you'll go home and remove and bowl.
I have to bowl quickly and then go to classes, so I can't go.
Again on Friday?
Yes, I go to classes.
You bowl first?
Yes, and go to classes.
Oh no, my
home.
dear.
But you know what? It's a good deal. I can go with you to church. The nice African.
But on Friday now the president has directed we want
Friday. Oh yeah,
every Friday. Yes.
Some Kenyan wear.
Kenyan or good African.
That I will do.
Because why are we independent? Why do we go to Turkey? Why do we give money to other people instead of doing the things ourselves? We have very good people who can do fashion design, who can cut these designs. Look at mine. Mine we have done here locally. Well organized, I'm fit. I don't work with anything sticking on my body. So Machiavelli liked the churches. Fearing the Ottoman Empire. Anybody talking about the Roman, the Pope in Rome, Machiavelli could order for their arrest and assassination and execution. But if you talked about the emperor, Machiavelli would go behind and encourage you to demonize the emperor. How does it relate to the current Kenya? I leave it to you to make a decision. Kenyans, and I leave to Miriam to make a decision. Because the laughter is enough to indicate what it is, what is going on in Kenya.
You're implicating me.
I'm not implicating you. We are implicated already.
You're implicating my laughter.
Yeah, but your laughter tells it all. We have Machiavellian politics here. We go to church every day. On Sunday, we are now. Monday, today, we have changed the tone. President is very good. Very good, very good.
Monday we are resting.
Saturday.
It was a busy weekend.
Saturday. Saturday, the things that came from that rally in Trans Nzoia was like a hot potato. Kila mtu ana wake up. No, we wanted Tuju. The only problem that Tuju has is that he's a Luo. A Luo who disagreed with Raila Odinga and came to work with Uhuru Kenyatta. That's the problem. Now they don't want him. It is a soft coup. They have been plotting a soft coup. They tried to go to take the party from the president. They failed. They now came down. Now they have settled down to Mr. Tuju. The only soft target. The constitution of Jubilee said 3 years. The interim officials will work for 3 years. Then after 3 years, there will be an election where party officials.
So when is the election supposed to happen?
2020.
Okay, so these should relax then.
2020. My fellow Kenyans, brothers, my fellow Africans, what do you want to do? You want presidency so desperately, but you want to destroy a country that we built from 2013. The country that we went all the way to The Hague to bring back sanity. When people never wanted you, people rejected all of you. Some of you feared to go there in 2010, 29. I was there. I'm a foreigner, but I stood for you. You want to destroy the country again because of power? Now Tuju, you are going for Tuju. Okay, after Tuju has gone, who is going to accept to be the Secretary General?
Of the party.
Nobody will be there. In fact, it's better to have a neutral Tuju. Because if you bring a Kikuyu, they will say no. If you bring a Kalenjin in there, they say no. So have you seen this disintegration of Jubilee Party? The Tuju story must be investigated deep down by DCI. Leave it to DCI.
Yes.
Let them find out who is this, who is located in an office somewhere near Galleria. I'm giving you hints. Near
Galleria Mall.
Galleria, is it Galleria? I don't eat those type of things. That's why I don't go there. It's useless place.
It's not. It's very nice.
I am not one of those children. My children have grown, so I have nobody to take there. You, Miriam, you have a younger boy.
No, we don't go to Gale.
Who needs to go out to such places?
Nice eateries and stuff.
For me, there is one problem. I never go to malls. From the time I escaped this day from this place here,
I'm also very afraid of malls.
Yes, I don't go to malls, Miriam.
We are not fear-mongering, but you're just saying yes.
No, I don't go there.
Yes.
I was 20 minutes short to the grave. 20 minutes.
Wow.
Short to the grave. Had I driven the same place where I usually park my car, I'm known by the askaris there. They say, fungulia daktari aweke hapa. That is the same place. Oh my God. That's the same place they entered from.
Wow.
So for me, David, count me out. So that there is this office near Galleria.
It's near there.
Yeah, check. You'll find them. They are doing all this mimicking towards that area. They are doing all that, producing sound bites of Matanga, place it with Miriam. You know, they can place a woman on you, we don't know. Hello, yesterday we had a very good time. They are there. Artists have become conmen. They are used to con the voices of people.
Well, they cloned the president himself. So
if people could clone the president's voice and con 81 million shillings,
even his number,
how do you rule out that they will not clone all of us? Find these guys. Find them. They are there. You know them. Some of them are now. How do you tell people that there is a baby shower when it is not there? We waited for this. Everybody was thinking there was, and it is not there. We have become very bad conmen. Look at that.
And Murathe, yesterday I watched him and he's back again. He seems to be very, very convinced, and when he's speaking about
of course,
he's very passionate.
He has facts.
He has facts.
He has facts. Have you seen anybody taking him to court?
Yes, and no.
Have you seen anybody taking him to court?
Because the allegations he makes are very
heavy.
Yes.
Why doesn't anyone go and take Murathe to court?
That even amounts to.
Now, in fact, like now, take Murathe to court and we see. It is us they go on threatening at night with telephone calls. Now one telephone call is landed in DCI. DCI want to record the statement. It is sad.
But why haven't anybody taken Murathe to court? Because here on the Star, the newspaper says, Uhuru will not hand power to a thief. That is what Murathe said yesterday. And yes, so, yeah. I know this is something that will elicit a lot of reaction. So this is also a story that will continue going over this week. I don't think the deputy side will just let it lie. So maybe by the end of today, there will be a rebuttal in regards to what Murathe said yesterday. I don't know, they were in a chat somewhere together with Kalonzo.
I bet there will be no rebuttal.
You think?
Where they will just go to the rally and shout Murathe.
Yes. But they will not
why?
This head on.
Murathe is my friend.
Yes.
We always meet, bump into each other. He's an elder like me. So for us, we are fighting our age.
He's very bold.
Yeah, we are fighting our age.
Yes.
So we fear nothing. We tell it as it is. Murathe does not fear to tell. Murathe is like a Matanga. Even if you have invited me to your house and I see you doing bad manners, I tell you.
In my house?
And then, you remove the food from me. I go home and I cook my food.
Mine will still be better than yours, but
No, it doesn't matter. Eat it alone. Don't ever invite me. Yeah. There is a gentleman who invited me in his house.
Yes.
I won't say his name. Then in front of me, he started slapping his daughter.
Oh, that's not nice. A younger daughter? Or
a younger daughter. No, not young. scolding her in front of us. I said no. I told he turned on me, said, "Who you come?" He got. I said, "I will also get annoyed." Did I invite myself here? And I said, "Please don't threaten me because of this house." I told him I have a better house. My sofa set is, I don't want to value it. Yeah, nilimwambia namna hivyo. Sofa set yangu inanunua hizi all your, but you cannot invite us in your house. Then you start insulting the younger girl, the things you should have sorted out there.
Yes.
So for us, with me, I don't fear. Even if you don't want me to eat the food, I can walk up and go and buy food in Kempiski, or the best hotel in town. I can afford that meal. I don't need your meal. Honestly, that's how I have grown up. And that's why I want to tell you the story of my nightclub. I created a nightclub in London on London Road 791. Instructions were very clear. No smoking there. Jamaicans came with cigarettes. I beat them up.
And weed.
Yeah, I know. They used to come, then they started smoking because they had seen this is an African place. One day I collected my Ugandan people. We showed them the way.
You created a small militia.
No, I am, yes, there. I created, you ask any Ugandan who knows me, yes, in London. Yes. I created my own people with my firstborn daughter. She's a taekwondo expert, that Miriam there. The Miriam, my firstborn, taekwondo. Three of us manned that nightclub. And the police used to help us. If you are smoking on the floor in my nightclub, I get you by the ball. What? Get out, man. I don't care. Never come. I don't care. Even the money. I get even the beer you are drinking. Pour it. And I give you the money. By then, Britain, there was no smoking and non-smoking. From me, I have been given an award. I have it in my house in London. For having, by Croydon Council, the London Borough of Croydon thanked me for the introduction of a non-smoking zone in your premises. Do something like that. Among the whites, they were burning their lungs, then wasting our medicine in the hospital.
That sounds like what Afeki will do to anybody drinking. You also can't stand drinkers.
No, Afeki, drinkers can drink. But you don't smoke where drink is. You are killing yourself twice. Go and smoke somewhere else. And that's what I used to do. I banned them in London Road, in Club 791. Google it here. Club 791 is Matanga. They will show it, London Road. Matanga is involved. I was the owner, the founder. I sold it, 120,000 pounds cash. I bought it for 11,820 in 1993. You can't look at that. How much money was that? And I sold it. I sold it to my DJ who was undermining me every night. Africans are very bad. Even when you are there working hard and you brought him, he undermines you. So I said, if you want to hear the keys, bring me the money tomorrow. He had no money. I said, I give you 1 week. Bring the money. And the nightclub is yours. It's finished. 120,000 pounds. I walked out. But I introduced decorum. All this is going back to decorum. We spoiled everything in Africa. There was no visa. There was no train cheating in London. There was nothing. We took the Methodists there to cheat, to jump the bar and jump in the train for free. There were no inspectors when I went to London. Each train could have only 2 inspectors from London up to Glasgow. We Africans brought inspectors every station because we started cheating tickets, jumping over the barrier. An African in a suit running to enter a train for free. Then when he's reaching the other station, he looks to see whether there are inspectors there. He passes that station. You know, now he has missed going home. So that he can jump from the other station and come back. We brought it, Africans. In Dubai, we used to go without visa. Ugandans took bad manners there. The Dubai authorities put visa. Ourselves, we have been doing it. We have been killing ourselves wherever we go as Africans. Ladies and gentlemen, let's change our behavior. You are in leadership, respect the leader. Thank you. African News next.
All right, 11 minutes past noon here in Nairobi. Thank you so much for continued support and keeping us company. So let me just go straight to what is happening to Africa, and then later on we'll come to our topic of the day. Diaspora Dispatches. Is Africa independent, or is it controlled by foreign agencies? And we start with the DRC, and the former Vice President of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Jean-Pierre Bemba, is back in his country for the first time since December's disputed elections. He was barred from running in the election and backed Martin Fayulu, who said that he had won the poll rather than Felix Tshisekedi. And in Mauritania, the country's ruling party candidate has won the first democratic transition of power since independence in 1960. Mohamed Ahmed Ould Ghazouani, a close ally of outgoing President Mohamed Ould Abdel Aziz, won with 52% of votes. 4 of the opposition candidates have rejected the results, which are expected to be submitted to the Constitutional Council for validation. And in Ethiopia, the country has declared a national day of mourning to mark the deaths of 4 top officials in what the government is saying were coordinated killings as part of a coup attempt in northern Amhara state. On Saturday night, the chief of staff of the army, General Sierre Mekonnen, was shot dead by his own bodyguard in the capital, Addis Ababa. He and other officer General Gizaya Bera died trying to prevent the coup attempt, the Prime Minister has said. And in Mali, 7 Chadian soldiers and a local guard were killed in a Boko Haram jihadist ambush in Lake Chad, the latest in a surge of attacks in the region, security forces said yesterday. And we go to Nigeria, where at least 8 people died in an oil pipeline explosion in southeastern Nigeria, police and local officials reported on Sunday, which does not rule out a heavy toll. And in Benin, police put an end to the restraint of the former Benin president to his home on Saturday after 2 months under house arrest. The former president was accused of inciting violence after the controversial parliamentary elections in April. Boni Yayi described the election as an electoral coup d'etat, while calling for an end to the process. And in Sudan, the military has rejected Ethiopia's proposal to end the political deadlock over the composition of the country's transitional government. Ethiopia's proposal, which the opposition coalition has agreed to, suggests that a ruling sovereign council would be made up of 7 civilians and 7 members of the military, with 1 additional seat reserved for an impartial individual, according to Reuters. Sudan's ruling military council has appealed to the African Union and Ethiopia to unify their efforts in outlining a blueprint for political transition in the crisis-hit country. Details of the AU proposal, however, were not immediately known. And in the DRC Congo, tribal armed groups have killed more than 100 people in the DRC's east, sending hundreds of thousands of people across the border to Uganda. It is the only fast flare-up in violence as the newest Congolese join 100,000 already there from the same conflict that started years ago. And Tanzania remains the most peaceful country in the East African community, while Rwanda has showed the most significant improvement in peace. This is according to the Global Peace Index 2019 released this month. Though it remained atop of the EAC list for the 3rd year running, Tanzania dropped 2 places to 54th on the 163rd country index and 7th in sub-Saharan Africa. No African country made it to the top 13 countries ranked very high on state of peacefulness. The top 3 are Iceland for the 12th year running, and New Zealand and Austria. And more than 1,000 assets belonging to the East African community that were brought as at 1.8 million US dollars cannot be traced, the East African Legislative Assembly was told last week in a further indictment of the Secretariat's management. The Assembly was also told by the EALA Accounts Committee that more than 1 million US dollars in cash could not be accounted for. The report presented in the House last Tuesday details alleged loss, wastage of community funds and assets, breach of procurement procedures and violation of staffing regulations. The audit covers the financial year that ended in 2017. And in Malawi, the Constitutional Court ruled on Friday in favor of opposition parties pursuing a case over disputed election results, an opposition leader said, as further protests erupted over alleged vote fraud. President Peter Mutharika, who narrowly won the elections last month, had applied to have the court application by two opposition parties thrown out, but the court in Dilongo, which did not allow press access, said the case could continue and set June 26th as the date for a full hearing. And in South Sudan, the European Union has given South Sudan 48.5 million euros, that equates to 54.8 US dollars, to avert the growing humanitarian crisis. Last week, the EU gave South Sudan 1 million euros to step up Ebola prevention in the country. Despite a recent peace deal, humanitarian needs remain high in South Sudan, with nearly 2 million people internally displaced and almost 7 million in need of emergency food aid. And we end with Rwanda and Uganda's row, where Rwandan President Paul Kagame has ruled out an escalation of hostilities between his country and Uganda, even as diplomatic tensions that have lasted more than a year continue. In an interview with the Belgian media in Brussels, where he was attending the European Development Days Summit, President Kagame said, and I'll quote him, "People fear fighting between us, and I don't see it coming because I think Uganda understands the cost of it. We won't want to go down the road because everyone will lose something." So that is the latest from Africa this morning.
So who is Kagame to tell us? You see what the statement that Uganda understands the cost of it. You know, that is not a very good statement.
That is a very passive-aggressive way of
saying
yes.
he can deal with them.
Don't play with us. Yes.
Anyway, don't talk about that in that name on my television. I don't want to be injured, but it is my friend. But you see, such a statement won't take Uganda out. Uganda will come in. But before we go to Africa, are we together in Africa? Let's take 3 minutes to look at this. Something has erupted in the Kenyan court.
Today?
Yes. Okay. It's a very, Samson or whoever afraid, they can put it on here for us. There you are to see. There you are. It has come on your phone. Now, you look at that. Before we go there, as they prepare the clip. If you say that Uganda knows the cost, they can't dare to do it. So Uganda will come today, okay, that's why you have closed, because you think we are lower. So let these borders be opened. Let's just strictly look at everybody who is coming. If you don't want some people to come, write to Rwanda government and tell them we don't want the following people.
Yes, to come.
And then the Rwanda government also should write, we don't want the following people to come to our place because we believe they are the agents who try to bring chaos between us. That's all. But the question of closing the border, all our trucks were piled up there. People who live on the livelihood of transportation, we lost almost 2 months, 3 months. We lost a lot of money. We drivers there, drivers seated in them. That is not very good, Paulo Kagame. It's not. And that is not very good, President Museveni. It's not.
Yes.
Some of these problems, you can solve them as leaders of these countries. Paulo Kagame is my age, or slightly younger than me actually.
It's younger.
He hasn't reached my age. Let him evaluate and see where he came from. He worked with Museveni for a long time. Museveni was his father, more or less. Let them sit down somewhere and sort this mess. so that Ugandans and the Zimbabwe and Rwandese we don't suffer.
This seems like a personal thing going on between
It is.
these two leaders, and now both countries are sucked in, and everybody is suffering.
Rwanda produces very beautiful things, which I don't want to mention beyond what it is here. Yeah. So we need to enjoy them, the fruits and everything. Now Ugandans, some of us who are suffering as a result of that. We don't need that acrimony. No, Uganda has very good things to offer to Rwanda. Rwanda has good things. We are all East African community. Is the tape ready? Yes. See what has happened in court in Kenya today. There's a very big war. I told you, it will bring a climax, and one day you'll agree with me. My prediction is none of them goes wrong. I warned people that these guys are going to end up fighting each other in the same court. There's a clip there coming.
Oh, there it is, the war within. Oh, this is in regards to, I saw yesterday in the news now some section of the judiciary has come out to castigate
keep it on
the CJ for his removal of
Mr. Hayemba. So a war within erupts. I told you, I was telling Maraga, and Maraga turned on me. He did not see this coming. One section of the people say Amadi, and others Amadi, Ominde, and Mucherure. They stand in for the magistrate. In short, Amadi, Omide, Mucherure cartel are suing Maraga. Hayemba is one of theirs, and they have to revenge because he lost his job. The court will rule in their favor. The war has just begun. Mr. President, Mr. Deputy President, you know where to go next. Don't turn guns on your party. Turn guns to where the money made us lose millions and millions and billions of shillings. And that is the Supreme Court. This Maraga could wake up from this court one day and dissolve parliament. I'm telling you. And I'm telling Kenyans every day this thing. And they say, I loud mouth, I talk much. Okay. One day, Maraga is waiting. Maraga is a man, looks like he wants also power. He wants power. So the war within the judiciary, you can see. Maraga has a case, Maraga versus LSK, Maraga versus Mwiru, and the you see now, and the Deche. Have you seen Maraga? Is in almost every place. You know, the deputy chief justice said Maraga knew about the CIDs coming for her. So, is the chief justice under siege? The cartels have finally zoomed on him. And the things have fallen apart. Chinawa Achebe. Thank you very much, Miriam. Any question on African news before we go to break?
Before we even go to Sudan and the EAC, let's start with the EAC and more than 1,000 assets belonging to the East African community that were bought at a tune of $1.88 million cannot be traced in the East African Legislative Assembly.
Does that surprise you?
No, not really.
Who are the members that we take to EAC? Simon Mbugwa. So if you are taking that, you have been taking those for years. Can such members be worth in the EAC? No.
What a shame.
Africans, most of these guys have grown stomachs because of our assets. They have eaten the money. It won't be said. Close and write it off. That's all I can tell you.
Okay. So then we move to Malawi.
It is like the Eroro and the Kemoro Dam.
But the DCI is still on it. So
No, close.
I'm still hopeful.
What about the towels?
That he will get.
What about the towels people took? Forks, cutlery, sofria, besan, blanket, wawa, shuka. Keep thieves. Please. Let's discuss more African news.
Okay, let's go to
someone takes money from a dam, goes to buy bed sheets. Keep theft.
The good bed sheets, though.
Cutlery.
The good ones.
So what does a dam have to do with cutlery?
And tiles.
Forks and a towel. When there is no water, do you swim in a dry land? And then, at that time, nobody wanted vigilante justice. Today on Tuju, we want a vigilante justice. Ask the questions. Are we all right? Let's move on, ma'am.
So Malawi's Constitutional Court on Friday ruled in favor of opposition parties pursuing a case over disputed election results, an opposition leader said. And now this case was... They'll start hearing the case on the 26th of... Are we even all right? Remember what happened? The circus that was the elections in Malawi. So now the case, the court that suspended the elections and nullified the whatever the opposition had...
That's another country gone to the dogs.
Now the case will start on the 26th.
When the president has already been sworn.
Where will that leave the president?
That's chaos and killing people.
Should they find that the elections were not fair, went against the constitution, and what will happen? Will they fire the president? Or what does the constitution provide for in Malawi? That is total.
You know what? That is another country in Africa gone to dogs. I told you. Thank you. Let's move on. Okay. Click. Yes, click.
So Sudan's military has rejected Ethiopia's proposal. Ethiopia had proposed seven people for the composition of the country's transitional government, and they insisted that they want the AU's proposal merged with the Ethiopians' proposal. But the problem is, there are no details about the AU proposal in regards to how to solve the stalemate right now in Sudan. So they're not saying what the AU told them, but the Sudan's junta is insisting that Ethiopia's proposal, they do not want what Ethiopia proposed through the president, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, and they're saying we want the AU and Ethiopia to merge both their proposals. But the AU's proposal has not even been made public. Even the protesters don't even understand what was contained in the AU's proposal. So Ethiopia seems to have taken the lead on this one, and of course Sudan's ruling military council has appealed to the African Union and Ethiopia to unify their efforts in outlining a blueprint for a political transition in the crisis-hit country. And of course, as I said earlier, the details of the AU proposal were not immediately known. So AU here is playing with us, Doctor. And Sudan's junta is leaning on AU for a solution now.
No. They have received the AU proposal.
They will not even make it public. So
no, it is well known. AU wants power handed over immediately to prepare elections and hand over power.
And the details.
The Ethiopian proposal talks about a prolonged civilian reorganization of the constitution, so on and so forth. The AU are seeking a quick return to the crisis, to return to civilian rule, even using some sections of the old constitution in doing the electoral process that can lead to a civilian rule. So the problem that has appeared here is that Ethiopia seems to be part and a parcel of the problems of Khartoum. And I told you, the Ethiopian Prime Minister, I warned you again here, and I always refer to you because at times you listen a lot to my. I told you the Ethiopian Prime Minister might not last. Weren't you here on this? We were on this show. I told you that they will overthrow him. I told you the generals will take him down. You know, the politics of civil society does not augur. You can't rule Ethiopia on civil society politics. It's like ruling Egypt with civil society. Egypt is ruled by the military. Egyptians only fear one thing. That's why they don't enter that football stadium and disrupt the match. They have that stubbornness. They have that pride that because they were the people, first people on planet Earth, they think they came, God created them. They think all religions came from them. They think that Moses was in Egypt. It is them. So they can even pour into those stadiums and disrupt the match and fight with police direct. So that's why they created this Muslim Brotherhood. It started from Egypt.
Yes.
They have that militancy. So when you go to Khartoum and you want to create a soft situation of civil society, which is in Addis Ababa, which was removed by Zenawi and Afeki after they overthrew Mengistu Haile Mariam, and Haile Mariam had introduced a centralized command of leadership in Ethiopia that controlled and kept Ethiopia together but made it poor. Then this guy came around and turned around the economy.
Especially agriculture.
Agriculture and other things.
Yes.
So there is something that is not catching up in Ethiopian administration that could affect us neighboring countries very soon. And the type of opening up the border with Eritrea is extremism that is of the highest degree. Thank you.
All right.
Let's move on to Africa.
Yes, let's move on to Africa. And we look at our Africa, the diaspora dispatches. Is Africa an independent, or is Africa being controlled by foreign agencies?
Thank you very much. I think we take a break. A break first. Then I'll do a 6 minutes break. A Katu situation that can be broadcast. Then we summarize.
Okay.
Yeah. I have got the notes here. They are the ones, eh? Thank you. I want to call upon the people of Abazonia today, wherever you are in the diaspora, in Abazonia itself, that in a struggle you are bound to have divisions. But divisions should not divert you from the main focus, the main challenge. We have struggled to expose the happenings, the human rights abuses in Abazonia. The army has killed hundreds and hundreds of thousands, burnt houses of people, internet was cut off, schools were closed, dispensaries, hospitals were burnt down. Abazonians should not be intimidated by Paul Robia. It is not upon the leaders of Abazonia, because I am not from Abazonia, but I've played a pivotal role in making sure that I loud out the voices, I put out the call, I call upon AU, EU, United Nations, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International. Many of them have listened to some of the things that I say here, and they have come at last. America, United States of America, is slowly moving towards giving the Abazonian people the dignity they deserve. I therefore call upon the leaders and the leadership of the Abazonian people to unite for a purpose. The unity of purpose is paramount, as opposed to disunity, which has nothing but only produces ego that we have seen in South Sudan. What has killed South Sudan is not because they don't have the money, the minerals, the resources. Is ego between Riek Machar and Salva Kiir. We would not like to see that ego come to the people of Abazonia, the leadership of Abazonia. I call upon Samuel Sako Akanga, Milan, and Eko to unite and talk with one voice on international scene that will bring about the peace, the tranquility that you yearn for since 1961, when the resolution 1608 was abandoned by the United Nations General Assembly and Abazonia was annexed by the Cameroon government by then. I call upon you, my brothers, to pick up the unity call and free your people without disintegration. Thank you. Viewers, fellow Africans, since 1957, when Ghana gained independence, there has been quite a lot of political, social, economic indicators on the African continent that show that Africa has progressed from post-election or post-independence Africa, from pre-independence Africa to post-independence Africa. 66 years down the road, Africa finds itself with the first country, Ghana, having gained independence. We find ourselves still locked up, controlled, manipulated, instructed, logistically supplied, equipped by foreign powers that dictate our agenda. Africa is endowed with plenty of minerals, resources, good weather. The climate is so favorable for the growth of food enough to sustain us. But we find ourselves in countries where hunger is killing people. Hunger is killing people because most of the people have taken to arms to fight wars, conflicts. Starvation has taken the place of development. In most African countries like Sudan, South Sudan, Central African Republic, Cameroon, Nigeria, in Biafra, and the north of Nigeria, there is Boko Haram. Somalia, in the Horn of East Africa, we have taken to conflicts instead of development. Development was the key indicator. When Kwame Nkrumah made the first speech that seek ye African political unity, economic development will come automatically, he was right. The events happening in Libya today vindicates Nkrumah, vindicates Nyerere, Sekou Toure, and Nasser, the founding fathers of our Pan-Africanism. The events happening in Central African Republic, in Congo, today as the war of rebels ranges on between the rebel and the rebels and the government and the rebels vindicates the founding fathers of this revolution. Our independence, therefore, was only on paper. Our independence, therefore, was only in symbols. Our independence also was in signs. Our independence also was in boundaries. That we received our flags, but we never received full independence as by the word independence. Most of the 3/4 of African countries, French-speaking countries, have their budgets being done in Paris. Is that independence? The Paris government or the French government does its budgets based on how much they will get from African countries. Is that independence? Yesterday, I was opening up my TV to watch AFCOM. What surprised me is to see Total Africa, the main company from France, sponsoring our match and branding our AFCOM as African 66 years past since the first independence. Is this the Africa that you want? Is it the Africa that we must look at? Is it the Africa that we shall leave for the future generation? If the answer to you is yes, then so be it. But if the answer is no, you agree with me that this is not the Africa we want to leave for the future generation. Our generations and the future generation need to find a legacy. What is the legacy that Africa and African Union will leave for the future generation? The wars ranging in Libya, in South Sudan, in Khartoum, in Mogadishu, in DRC Congo, in Amazonia, in Cameroon, Boko Haram, Mali, in Mauritania, the uprisings in Algeria, all point to one thing, that yes, we are not yet independent. We are still controlled by external forces. Thank you.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you very much. And of course, no African countries truly, truly independent. Even statistics have shown, and anywhere in the world will come in and tell you that even us, we understand that. And that is quite unfortunate. And we still walk around here counting the years that we've been independent, and every year raising the flag and celebrating independence. But the truth is, a lot of African countries have not been independent, and all of them still are being destabilized by their former colonies. And France has really, taken a lead on that, manipulating their former colonies and others. Even other colonial powers, but France has really specialized in this. And when you look at a country like Guinea, especially when it wanted to be independent, France was specifically angry after losing, because Guinea was one of these top source of income that took care of the French, as a country. And so when the people of Guinea decided to be independent in 1958 to free themselves from the clutches of their rulers, that is the French, the colonial empire, the French colonial elite in Paris got very rowdy about it and furious, because they were not very happy with Guinea not wanting to be under them anymore. And so what the French did, they destroyed everything that they had built in that country, be it hospitals, be it schools. They made sure everything was gone. They literally destroyed the things that they had done in Guinea before they left the country. So, and then when they were leaving, they worked on a way that really destabilized, even hurt the economy of Guinea. But anyway, that is what has happened. And so it's very sad that many years later, African countries, you still can't even breathe without even asking our masters. If we need to do something, we have to consult. Our African Union leadership we have said that over and over here, and even Africans agree with us, it is under capture. Our former colonies have conspired, and they're up there still pulling our string. And so I don't know at what point, what will take for us to really be truly independent and for us to be making decisions that are best for us as Africans. I don't know how long it will take for us to get there, Dr. Matanga.
As I have said, it is very easy to cut a case between a cat and a rat, but very difficult to cut a case between a forest and a monkey, because you have to ask one of them who is wrong. If you cut one for the forest will ask, have you consulted the monkey? And if you cut the monkey, the forest might not be itself. As we speak now, that is how we are and how things have been. That is what the situation is, and that's what happens. Africa has a problem. It is not itself. It does not belong to itself. It has never been itself, and it will never be itself. Thank you very much, Miriam.
It will never be itself. So
Never.
we should not be hopeful of a liberated Africa.
It is not there.
But when you see this other younger generation that is now agitating for change across the continent, and they are tired of the status quo, because this status quo are the ones who are the gatekeepers of these people we perceive, who come here and manipulate and steal molest us in our economies. So perhaps when you look at this younger generation, can we be hopeful maybe a couple of years from today that actually Africa will take its own issues by its own hands and take care of its own problems and maybe change its own institutions to fit the local, dynamics as it is? Does this younger generation really offer hope for the future?
This younger generation want to come to power. There's nothing they are hoping. Look at the younger generation in Khartoum. What can they offer? What have they offered? What can they offer in government that can change things on the ground? They cannot negotiate a quick exit. So the regime change that you see in Africa, as long as we are controlled by companies like Total Oil, that comes to say the football rights are us. Where does the football rights go to? Show me one hospital that Total Oil has built. Show me. We have Total Oil petrol stations all over Africa. But show me one hospital that the Total Oil has built. At least I can show you one hospital that the British government built. That's Mulago Hospital. That's Nairobi University. They made their money to build this university. It's not the Kenya government. They gave Makerere University. They built it. They built Ibadan University. This the British did, not French. They built Ibadan University, one of the best universities in Africa. But show me where Total Oil has built a hospital, a road, a scheme of rice. Chinese came here and built rice schemes in Kibimba. We have huge rice schemes producing a lot of rice for Ugandans. 30 years ago, Chinese were the poorest people on the continent of Africa, in the world index. Today, China is lending us money. Why? It taught us, it came here, it saw the potential. It exported its people to work in those rice schemes. Where have we gone? We have retarded ourselves in wars. Africa is better bought than better built.
Better bought than
yes,
better built.
It's bought all the time. It's bought. If you look at the happenings in Kenya today, once you will find later on that these happenings depict somebody is behind the destabilization of the Jubilee party and the government of Jubilee in order to gain access, to have a regime that he handles in his hands. There must be an external power. In Zimbabwe, there is an external power that wants Emerson Mnangagwa to attack the soldiers. Emerson Mnangagwa to charge soldiers, then spark a revolution from the soldiers, a condemnation, throw him out, capture power. That they want Chamisa to get power, to capture that power, then use Chamisa to access the minerals, the reserves. We are not yet independent.
We are not yet independent.
Even if we bring regime change, these young men wake up in the morning and they say they are going to dismantle the whole empire of Kenya. All KICC will come down. We want a new, vibrant administration. The same administration will be captured.
will be captured. And as a matter of fact, there has been some research that has shown since 1960, a total of 68 coups have been carried out in 27 Africa countries, and 17 of those countries are former French colonies. So they lead out of the 27 70s are from the former French colonies. Of course, with French, we know if you don't agree with them, they'll organize for a coup and you'll be taken out. And in 2008, former French President Jacques Chirac stated that without Africa, France will slide down into a rank of a third world country. So they're actually not just French, but also other foreign powers. They ride on our back.
They do.
To celebrate the status as leading economy.
The only country that does not ride on our back is Britain, because Britain has impacted these countries so well. They have plowed back. Britain has plowed back into this country. Tell me what France has plowed here. Tell me, show me. The French have been here coming to open a factory. They opened the one factory in Kenya, producing power, which power we don't see. It is left a white elephant in the middle of a desert, in the middle of warlords of animals coming to pick animals from here, bandits, killing people, sending people away. We don't get anything from Takwero. The electricity that keeps Kenya sustainable is here, is coming from Nile River in Jinja, until you have now got your own way of producing electricity. So it is a shame that after 66 years of independence, Africa still has no way out. Africa still is fragmented. Africa still is controlled. The African Union itself is controlled, directed, instructed, and even kissed.
On the feet or where?
They kissed them. I don't know where they kissed them.
Good luck, Esenoki. You're saying, good morning, Dr. Matanga. The oppression, depressed, and marginalized people around Africa by their self-styled and despotic leaders who live to celebrate you in your good work. Your undiluted and apologetic truth will continue to hit these bad leaders of Africa until they purge of this bad leadership. So somebody here is celebrating you today. Good luck, Esenoki. And he's saying, continue doing the good job that you've been doing.
Thank you very much. And that goes to show you, if you can have a whole football bonanza, tell me one African company that can go to European football, which was in Madrid, and put a poster.
We can't afford to do that, can we?
We can afford.
We just choose not
but
to.
we want this brand to be done. North Korea can afford, no, South Korea can afford today to put a brand anywhere.
Yes.
Because they united. That's what Nkrumah said. Nkrumah told us, let's have political unity. If you want political unity, you are closing the border. You are a man running around in Brussels, in AU. You are the chairperson of AU, and you are closing the border with Uganda to punish Ugandans. And then Ugandans also close the border to punish Rwandese. Tell me, what type of African unity is this? You are telling General Haftar, Khalifa, go and kill the other group because they are not Africans. Throw them in the Mediterranean Sea. Then you are General Assisi, Haftar, Assisi, whatever. That is even what has made me switch off my TV. I like football, I don't want to know it. Human rights abuses in Egypt are appalling.
This team should have boycotted this match. So the penalties would have been high.
Most of the other time, games worked as a reminder of removing apartheid. We put a sports embargo on apartheid. No world country wanted to do any sports with South Africa.
Yes.
It put them on a spotlight. We Africans were very happy to fly to Egypt without seeing the record of human rights abuses that they have committed. First to the people of Libya, second to the people themselves, third to living prisoners without food in prison, killing them. And the fourth, above all, interfering with all states around that place, seeking higher upper hand hegemony. I cannot be a party. I cannot.
That speaks a lot about what the kind of leadership we've had in Africa. And I've not even had one leader come out and condemn what has been happening in Egypt, even after the death of former President Morsi. They're all just quiet. And yes.
How can you have a leader coming out to condemn? Did you see any leader attending the AU apart from Uhuru Kenyatta, attending the swearing-in ceremony for the candidate that was preferred by the people of DRC? No. The only leader who attended was Uhuru Kenyatta, Musyoka, and Raila Odinga.
Yes.
The AU was instructed. Those are the things that foreign agencies, for a non-state power, instructed us not to attend a swearing-in ceremony of an African country whose elections we sent observers as AU, and said the AU brought a report that they were free and fair, conducted in accordance with international norms.
And
then the same AU refused to go to DRC to witness and wrote to everybody not to go there. Are we not captured? Are we not captured? If we look at Cameroon, the killings go on daily, evening, night, and morning. The people know it. The Security Council of Africa knows it. Who has come out with boldness, with emotion, to present and put it on table, to ask the Cameroonian president to explain the human rights injustices that are committed against his people, which made the football to be removed from Cameroon to Egypt. Why did we remove football from Yaoundé and we took it to Egypt, when Egypt is also commanding troops to go and kill a government in Tripoli? Why? Why? What has changed? We removed the football from Yaoundé, from one frying pan, we dropped it in fire.
Right in the middle of it.
We can enjoy as Africans. You see, the biggest problem with Africans, the ones you saw there on TV, they are now opening their mouth. They are not quarreling. So in Africa here, you die alone.
We are not our brother's keeper.
Yes.
Very unfortunately. Very unfortunately.
So thank you very much, viewers. Thank you very much. God bless you. I think we have nothing else unless you have something else. Miriam, let's call it a day.
All right. So we'll see you in our next broadcast. Thank you so much for your company today. And thank you so much for contributing and for making this show what it has been today. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.